Immediately your time runs out, it's going to fly off the screen. I'm not even joking. And I wrote, thank you, best regards, Susanna. And I realized that I've gone over the limits with two words. I was going through it, trying to find what to remove, what to edit out, and my time went off. I was so scared. CELPIP is called Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program Tests. Like IELTS, the test is divided into 4 structures. We've got listening, reading, writing, speaking. Be very aware of your strength before you even start to prepare for these tests. First of all, I am someone who understands my strength. Like the name of this channel tells you, I am a writer. I write. I also enjoy reading. Am I a good listener? That is debatable. But I am definitely not a good speaker. I don't go around speaking in public, or even, no, it takes me a while to build up courage to speak sometimes. But for reading and writing, those are my strengths, and I understood that before I went in for this exam. So which meant that I had to pay more attention to the ones that I'm not so good at, like the speaking and the listening. So I don't know who you are, but you know yourself, you know the things that you're good at. It is inevitable. You're going to do these 4 structures in the test, and you have to get like a good mark for each of these tests in order to pass and get a good score at the end of the day. Focus on the ones you're really not so good at. Make sure you are really good at those, so that when you actually go for the exams, they won't bring your test down. It's like an average and cumulative score. So if you're really good at one and your score was really low for the other one, it will affect your overall score. So let me just tell you a story about mine, because I feel like you guys like story time on this channel. I live in Saskatchewan. I booked the test in Saskatoon ahead of time, and I picked the date that worked for me. I paid close to $300, like $294 or thereabouts. That was how much I paid. I did it this year, a few months ago. It might have changed or whatever, but that was how much I paid. And you pay online with your credit card or your debit card, I'm not sure. You pay, you get your receipts. Make sure you keep the email or whatever, but usually once you pay, everything is fine. And then you have to go with your passport or whatever ID you used to register. If you do not go with it, you won't do your exam. So don't forget your passport, don't forget your ID that day, because they're going to take a picture of your face to match your passport or whatever ID you used. So just don't forget it. So in terms of preparation, I would say that, like I mentioned before, focus on your weaknesses. CELPIP, like any other, like IELTS, is a skill-based test, which means you need to practice. You don't go in cramming. It doesn't work that way. It's not like the things you found online are exactly what you're going to come into the exam to find. No, that is not it. The reading materials you read online is not the same reading materials that are going to come up in the exams. But the same tactic you've seen online, or other tutors or other people who have told you worked for them, you can use those tactics for your own exams as well. Let me start with listening, because that was the first test that I did after the exam started. Depending on how big or how small your exam room is, you're going to have people surrounding you. It doesn't matter. So you are going to be distracted one way or the other. So you're starting with listening. Like I said, I'm not so good at listening, because you have so much information coming at you at the same time. You have to focus and listen very carefully, because there are some things that you will be asked later on in the exams. They're going to play you a conversation, or they're going to play you someone speaking, or it could be a conversation between 2 people. You have to listen very well. This was what I did, because I wasn't quite sure of what exactly they were going to ask. I was rewriting what I was being told. Like I said, I'm a good writer. I was very fast at writing. That also worked for me, because I couldn't say that I would get all the information on like immediately. All the information that was being spat out into my brain, it couldn't stick. I don't know, if you're a very good listener, you might be able to save things very fast in your brain as you're listening to it. Me, no, not so much. So I had to write it down as I was listening to it. Obviously there are some things that I wouldn't write, but you just know that there are some key things, like maybe they mention a name in the conversation. They might be like, hi, how are you doing? The second person, I'm fine, I'm a little bit tired today, it's a cold evening. Literally, I would write it's a cold evening, because I feel like those things that they are enunciating on, it might come back to be asked as a question. That was how I did the exam. That was how I did the listening part. It will go by so fast that before you even realize it, the question part of the exam is there, and it's listening. Everything is in the listening mode, including the question. So once you don't listen to the question once, it's gone. That's it. So you have to listen, and you have to listen well. When they say in Yoruba, say light here. This is exactly that kind of this is where you need to light here. You have to listen. If you don't listen, you miss it. I think there was one question I didn't listen. I missed it because I was busy writing. I missed the question, but I don't know. I don't know. I did it. Everything goes by really fast. You can't replay questions. It's gone. So do what works for you. Maybe they're going to give you a pen and a notepad. Just jot something down. It's going to help you. That was what worked for me for listening, and it was cool, and it's such a good way to start the exam. I can't imagine, which I'm going to go later in the video, starting with speaking. It would make a difference it would have made a difference in my test score if I started with speaking. And by the way, to test the microphone you're going to be given, they will ask you to say a few words as like a test before you start the exam. It's not going to be graded or anything. So everybody's going to do the same thing. You're going to hear somebody beside you saying, hi, my name is XOXO, and I'm here to you. Another person saying, hi, my name is it's very distracting. The headphones is called noise cancelling, but trust me, it wasn't cancelling any noise. I was still hearing people talking behind me or around me. So this test is really about focusing. Focus on yourself, focus on what you're here for, and that's how listening is for me. The next one was reading. Reading was very interesting, but to answer the questions, it's not like your regular reading exercises we get in school. It involves critical thinking. It's not like you'll be given this email or a paragraph or a letter or an article, which are usually emails or articles. They're very serious. They're very serious body of work to read. So it's not going to be fun, like, oh, I'm reading a novel or I'm reading an article about something I enjoy reading. It could be something you totally don't even understand, like climate or the weather, or it could be a diagram of something different. Just, it could be anything, and then they'll ask you questions like, what do you think the writer is trying to portray? Or it could be about contrast, like compare what the writer is talking about to the main. Because I remember one of mine is about scientists. I can't remember because I didn't write it down, but one of my the reading part is like 1 hour, 55 to 60 minutes approximately. So it takes a while. You're gonna get 4 different structure, 4 different categories. So you could be the diagram or email, or they'll tell you to compare and contrast. So it's a lot. So you have to like calm down and just focus on it. Like I said, so as I was saying, I was given like an article about scientists, different scientists giving their opinion about something. I really can't remember what they were talking about, but they were giving their opinion about something, and were asked in the questions. So we're being referred back to read the article and say what we think about this part. So it's not a direct question like you can just go, it's not like a direct question where you can go back to the question, to the article, and you pinpoint it. Sometimes it's that easy, but for some questions you can't directly see it in the article. You have to think critically and answer. That is how it is for reading. It's also like that for writing to an extent. No, not for writing. No, it's actually only reading that is like that. The questions are not straightforward. Don't expect it to be straightforward. Sometimes the things they're asking you might not exactly be in the article or in the email. Sometimes you have to come up with your own. You have to come up with the answer in your own word. Or they will tell you that, what do you think the writer is talking about? Those kind of questions. So it will take a while. This is where I felt like I had to like slow down. Everybody was quiet at this point. Of course, everybody takes a while before it's not that everybody does it at their own pace, but you could feel it, right? Everybody is in this reading part of their exam because it was quiet. You want to read it very carefully so you don't make a mistake, and also read it very fast at the same time because time is going, and you can skim through. Like, this is what worked for me. So I skimmed through some things, or I went to the questions first to see what they were asking me, and then I used those questions to go back to the article. It worked for me in one of the categories, and then in the next category that was about comparing and contrasting, I had to read the entire thing. To prepare, you have to practice before you go. You cannot go into this exam and not practice. You have to be familiar with the structure, because that will give you a bit of confidence to say, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to be expecting. Not the exact article, not the exact example that you've seen online, but you know how it works. You know the tactics to use, because it's not tricky. They're not trying to trick you. You should, if you have practice, you should be able to do it. That is how it works. So that was reading for me. It's a lot of reading. I'm not going to lie, but it's not something that is impossible. That's it. Writing was the part I loved most. Shocker. It was sweet for me. The only thing is that you have to write to the word limits. So yeah, writing is broken out into two categories. You're going to write a letter to someone. They're going to give you a prompt to write on, and they'll give you the word limits. And that's basically it. Just a word prompt, write. You have a word limit, go, and that's it. And you'll be timed. And immediately your time runs out, it's going to fly off the screen. I'm not even joking. So my first one was to talk about I was to write an email to someone about a charity where I work, to appreciate him or to appreciate them for donating something to a football team that I was coaching, and to thank them for their lovely donation and appreciate them. So there were some key things that I had to add to my email. If you don't add those things, I think that's zero, because what are you writing about? So make sure that you, in whatever it is that you're writing, no matter how flowery and beautiful your writing is, make sure you add whatever it is they're looking for. This is like SEO. You need to put in those optimized words. Make sure those things are in your body of work, or your email or your letter, or whatever it is you're writing, because if it's not, the examiner will not know how to grade you, because it's literally going to give you zero. That you didn't answer the question. That's it. Okay, the second one was to write a petition about. Okay, so they gave me two options. Like, I should pick between having a gallery in our community or having a park, something like that. And then I think I picked gallery because it was just easy to come up with ideas on what to say, that why a gallery should be, why I would choose to have a gallery in our community and how it will help us. So when I saw the prompt, I jotted down some ideas already. That's how it works. So you just have to come up with the idea of what to do. So like the first one, they've given you the prompt. The second one, you sort of have to come up with the idea yourself. Yeah. I remember I had to come up with the idea myself. Like, what am I going to say? How do I convince this person that's going to read it that yes, I want an art gallery in my community because it will benefit my community compared to the other option? That is it. It's like argumentative essay. Yes, my one part is better than yours. That is basically it for me. It was like writing an argumentative essay and to try to convince whoever is going to read it that my point is better. So yeah, that was it. And I remember, I think for the second one, I didn't finish. I think I wrote it and I wrote thank you, best regards, Susanna, and I realized that I've gone over the limits with two words. I was going through it, trying to find what to remove, what to edit out, and my time went off. I was so scared, and that was immediately went off. It went straight to speaking. So speaking, that I was already afraid of, I was already spooked because I knew that I went over the limit. I was already scared. I couldn't think. I was watching the time run by and I couldn't think of what to remove from my boy because I was like, this is so perfect. I don't know what else to remove. I can't write an email and not put my name at the end. And that was how the time went by. So my speaking didn't start well. It didn't start well at all. I was already nervous. People were talking around. People were already starting their speaking. Some people were already saying, hi, in the picture behold, in the picture above, I can see the. So I was already nervous. I was startled already. It didn't start well for me. My speaking didn't start well for me, which explains why it was the lowest score in my entire score at the end of the day. I was not surprised. I was so nervous. I lost my confidence and I was tired. The exam is 3 hours long. I've been sitting for 3 hours. I was tired. Anyway, I went into, you don't even have enough time to react. I already started and then the picture came in for speaking. What I read online, speaking is the only part of the exam where I think it's, the examiner doesn't have an idea of the question being asked. They are not aware of it. They don't know what you are saying. They don't know what you are describing. They can't see the picture. They can't see the image in front of you. So they rely solely on what you tell them. So if you do not describe it well, you might not convince that person that you passed. I don't know how true this is, but with everything I have read, that I read to prepare, that was what I had. That the person or sometimes I think it's even computer that marks it, that part of the exam. So imagine it's like AI, right? Or whatever, I don't know. Maybe it's human being or AI. If you do not describe it well to the person or to the computer, you might not get a good grade. So this is what I did. Like I said, I am not so good at speaking, but I am good at describing things with words. I'm good at that. So this is what I did. I saw the picture. The picture that I got, one of the pictures I got was a birthday party. It was a birthday party in a park with different people in the picture, in the painting. Different people doing different things. It's like one of those pictures in, I don't know if people who grew up in the 90s, all those Macmillan books that we read in school, in primary school or secondary school, mainly primary school, where there'll be a picture and then a passage to read, and then there's a lot going on in the background. Maybe mommy is cooking, or somebody's riding a bicycle in the background, or the daddy is taking care of the kids, or something is going on in the classroom and someone is talking so it's all these kind of pictures where there's a lot going on. It's chaotic, really. So you have you have so much to talk about. It's like going into a party with a bunch of people, like a house party with a bunch of people doing different things, and you're on the phone with someone at that time and somebody's telling you, describe what you're saying, what's going on in this party. What exactly would you say? That is how speaking was for me. So if you're going to describe it to your friend, what would you say exactly? Of course, it is sweet to say all this, but in the moment of anxiety that I was going through, I was saying a bunch of nonsense. I had practiced all this, and then I got there, and because of what had happened to me in the writing, I was already spooked, I was already nervous. So when the picture came in, I was like, okay, let's do this. I had enough, like they'll give you enough time to talk. And then I started and I said, okay, the background shows there's a painting, the background shows a little boy playing with a kite, which shows that he's really excited to be in the park. Perhaps he has been at home for quite a long time and he's just so happy to be outside playing once again. And then in the foreground, I see a family. A dad is in charge of cooking, and then the mom is in charge of handling out the plates, which could suggest that this is a birthday party or celebration of season or seasonal celebration. And there are a lot of people who are really excited to meet each other again, to ask questions. That was what I was saying. I was talking and I was saying these things, and then when I was done, I kept quiet, and then the time kept running, and I just stood there, I froze. I didn't know what to say. I was making fun of myself. I just stood. After I explained everything, I just stood. I sat there. I didn't say anything. And then the time when I was like, good job. Now, next next question. Look at this image. I was like, did I say what happened? Why didn't I say so much? I had practiced all this. I didn't say enough, and I think that was what affected my score, because there was so much time and I didn't say anything. So please, to you, keep saying, talk. It doesn't matter, just keep talking about what you're seeing. Even if you've repeated it before, say it again. Describe everything you're seeing and imagine how it will feel for whoever it is in the picture. Like if it's a picture of two people fighting, say you see a picture of two people fighting, don't just say I see a picture of two people fighting, one man and one woman. Don't just, okay, bring a little bit more nuance into the picture. Like, okay, this picture of two people fighting, there's a man and a woman that they're at blows with each other. The man is raising his fist at the woman, and the woman is trying to block her face from his fist. It suggests that they are going through a moment of dispute, perhaps over a matter. If you're in a market or if they're in a, I don't know, wherever it is they are in the picture, just find a way to describe it. How do you get better at these things? By practicing before you go. And don't practice in a way that is different from the actual reality of the exam, or practice with noise around you. Maybe when you're practicing, play music in the background. Practice with the awareness that it's not going to be quiet. It helps you because then you are confident with speaking when there are people all around you, because that is exactly how it's going to be. You're not the only one that will come for the test. People around you are also writing their tests, so they're going to be talking. You're going to hear it. The noise cancelling machine, the noise cancelling earphone was not banging. I was hearing what other people were saying. I'm sure other people were hearing what I was saying. So it is important that you practice with noise around you before you go, so that you'll be comfortable in that kind of chaos. And then the result came in, and this was my result. I'm going to read it out here. So my listening, I got 11. My reading, I got 9. Writing, I got 12. Speaking, I got 9. Can you imagine? So overall, my average score was 10. 10 over 12. I was like, okay, not so bad. I was so happy when I saw my score. I was like, yay! I've done that now. I can move on. At least I've got 2 years with that score. I was so happy. So that's my story. That's my own story. I'm sure everybody will have different experience. Some people might have gone in and be like, I didn't prepare and I got a good score. Or someone will be like, I prepared so much and I failed. Or some just, I don't know. Everybody's got their own story. But that was my own story. Those are the tips that work for me. If you want to try them out, let me know. How was your experience like? Drop in the comment section. And if you're thinking of writing your own exam, what tips would you like to hear? What other questions do you have? If you have tips to give to people to share, please just recommend those tips and write them in the comment section. You don't know who you'll be helping, and share your own crazy stories, amazing stories, funny stories as well about this exam. So thank you so much for watching. I would please love it if you subscribe to my channel. We're trying to get into 5,000 subscribers. I cannot wait to have more people here so we can talk, but please subscribe, like this video, and thank you so much for watching right to the end. If you got here, my email is blackprowriter@gmail.com if you would like to ask me any questions or have questions about collaborations or things like that. I am also on Instagram as blackprowriter and on Twitter or X as blackprowriter. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.